SeanAssociates.com or 530-674-1150. Sean Associates is proud to support community radio.
Hey, good morning. It's 14 after 8 o'clock. John Black here. Talking about that fire just a minute ago. It's kind of interesting. Good morning, Molly.
Hi, good morning. Thanks so much for having me today.
Well, it's good to have you aboard here. Molly Bloom is the brand new curator director of the Sutter County Museum, which is located at?
Yeah, so we're located at 1333 Butte House Road over in Yuba City.
Okay, and it's right past the underpass there of which is Highway, is that 99? Yeah, that's Highway 99. Anyways, that's the Sutter County Museum, and well, let's get to know you first. Tell me about yourself. What's Molly's story?
Molly's story.
Yeah, well, I'm originally from Massachusetts, and I've worked in museums for about the past 10 years, and directly before this, I worked at the University of Nebraska at their Natural History Museum in Lincoln. Lincoln, Nebraska,
Lincoln,
I guess
Nebraska.
I should say, not Lincoln, California.
So are they enamored with corn in Nebraska as people put it out to be?
Oh, yes, it's very much about the corn and the corn huskers.
They have a corn museum in there, in fact, don't they? I've seen it. In fact, the building looks like a gigantic ear of corn. I'm just being silly. That's how creative you can get with museums.
Yeah, and so I'm really excited to be here and to work at this museum. I think a lot of people might not know we actually have about 21,000 objects and about 8,000 photos in our collection. So we have a great broad variety of material that we can share with the public and that we get the privilege to take care of here.
In fact, you've got a new traveling exhibit that just arrived recently. Tell us about it.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, so we have a new exhibit. It's called Disrupted Life, and it includes a replica barrack from the Tule Lake internment camp in Northern California. And so the barrack was actually built with help from Stan Umeda and Calvin Asu, who are two men who were incarcerated there along with their families at internment camps. And so we've been working with Chico State, who originally developed this exhibit, as well as the Marysville chapter of the Japanese American Citizens League and Yuba Sutter Arts and Culture to put on this exhibit that talks about the Japanese American experience in our community, as well as the experience at the Tule Lake internment camp.
Well, you seem very well versed. How long have you been in this position?
I started near the beginning of December, so it's about 2 months.
So, I mean, you, like you said, being able to bring up these names like that, that's amazing. What do you think about our history compared to places that you've been, like the corn place?
The corn
Nebraska, or even Massachusetts. Massachusetts got a longer history than we do, but...
Yeah, and so I worked at historic sites, and my background is archaeology, so I do love to explore different types of history, and I've been really impressed with this community. I think the diversity in our community is really impressive, and so we have a lot of objects in our collection that speak to different experiences through time, and so I really enjoyed getting to know our collection and our permanent exhibits as well at the museum.
Do people just out of nowhere tell you about stories about this area? Because you mentioned we got the American Indian, we got the Maidu population, we've got some of the Chinese gold hunters, if you will, back in the day, the grapes of wrath in this area. This where there's a lot of that. So it's neat to see. Fish, I'm just talking too much. I think I've had too much
you're
coffee.
fine. You're fine. I just wanted to mention that the thing about the museum is that so many people don't know, number one, that it exists and where it is, and then number two, that it's free. Every once in a while you guys will have an exhibit that has a minor cost to it, but generally you can take your kids to the museum, and it's a great opportunity for them to see, like you said, not just local stuff, but then you have the stuff that travels in. And so, I just wanted to mention that it's a great opportunity. I'm glad that you could take the time to be on the air, right?
Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, thanks for mentioning that. I do like for people to know that we are free to visit, and we are open. I know we're currently on some reduced hours, but we are open Tuesday to Friday from 1 to 5 p.m. and then on Saturday and Sunday from 12 to 4. And on Sundays, there's also a certified farmers market that takes place in our parking lot. So there are lots of ways to get involved at the museum, or different types of things. So there's a little something for everyone.
I didn't know that. Did you know that?
Yeah, I know that.
The farmers market?
Certified farmers market. It's the only year-round certified farmers market in the area.
What?
Yep. Every Sunday.
Well, there you go.
Rain or shine.
You learn something every day, right, Molly? That's what. So when you look, you've been here, you said, since December. So when you look at the museum, is it okay to say, well, what do you see happening? What do you see happening in the future? You know, what would you like to see happen for our museum? That, and I also want to ask you, are tours available?
Yeah, those are two really good questions. So I guess the shorter answer for tours is we do offer tours. People are able to call us in advance. There's more information on our website, which is suttercountymuseum.org. And so we do offer tours a lot of times for school classes that will come. And then in terms of what I see and what we'd like to see, we've actually just completed a master plan at the museum. So we're in the process of thinking about ways we can update our exhibits as well as raising the funds needed to do that. One of the ones we're thinking about right now is we have an exhibit on fire and flood that's so small and not enough room to really cover the significance of fires and floods in this area. So that's one that we're really looking at that we'd love to get some funding to redo in the near future.
Can the community support the museum? Is there a way? I mean, are you guys a
donations
nonprofit?
at the door
Yeah,
kind of
that's
thing?
what I'm. Yeah, are you guys a nonprofit where people could say, well, hey, you know, I own a tire store, right? And I want to give money to the museum, and I'd like a tax write-off. Is that available to people to help support the culture, right? The securing of the culture in our area?
Yeah, absolutely. And so we're a partnership between Sutter County and the Community Memorial Museum Association, which is a 501c3 nonprofit. And so the Museum Association, that's what pays for our exhibits, our educational programming, you know, our events, things like that. So people can donate. We also have, people can also support the museum in other ways. People can volunteer or purchase an annual membership. And so with the membership, we also have corporate memberships as well that include things like donation to the museum, which as a benefit you would receive advertisements in our bulletin that we put out that we send to all our members and things like that. So there are lots of ways that people can get involved and support the museum.
Good.
What about donations of items? People bequeathing items, you know, with the World War II veterans, you know, going away, a lot of people are, you know, like Band of Brothers, being able to do things like that, donating medals and things like that. I know we've got the Museum of the Forgotten Warrior out near Beale Air Force Base.
Boy, that's got a lot of stuff.
It does. Dan Spears got a very good legacy there. But are you accepting donations like that, or is it kind of like, talk to us, just don't drop off a box of old stuff?
Yeah, exactly. It's always great when people call and check in with us. Sometimes they might be looking to donate something that we already have within our 21,000 objects and artifacts, but also, you know, space is a concern for every museum. So we also really want to make sure that we're collecting items that relate to the history of Sutter County. But, you know, without Yuba County, we can't tell the story of Sutter County. So we would include Yuba County in what our material covers.
So that is confusing in itself because Yuba County, Yuba City is in Sutter County.
Yep.
Yeah, you got... I bet you that was confusing when you first got here.
Yeah, when I was looking to move here, I think, you know, and the name Sutter is so ubiquitous out here. It's on everything. So people kept asking me if I was going to be moving near the Sutter Homes wine or other Sutter things they'd heard about. And, yeah, they're all spread around.
Now we'll go visit. We're not moving.
What can we see at a typical visit to the Sutter County Museum? You say you got the Japanese internment camp represented there, but what are some of the other exhibits? I know that you still have that famous ball tractor there.
Yeah, we do, and that's a real highlight. I'd say our agricultural gallery is one of the biggest and most visited sections of the museum. So I should mention that the Japanese internment exhibit will be up until May 1st, so there is a good bit of time to get down to the museum and visit. But then we also have a very large multicultural wing that has stories about Punjabi Americans, Japanese Americans, Chinese Americans, Mexican Americans, Hmong Americans in our community.
Americans.
Yeah. And then...
You know, I didn't hear him mention Italians. We had no Italians in this area? I don't know.
We got Pasquinis.
Yeah, well, if you know, if anyone's interested in doing the research and working with us as a guest curator to put together a temporary exhibit, you know, we can always talk. But you know, and then we have the great Nisanon Maidu exhibit, which was the most recently redone. So there's a lot to see.
Do you have any objects there at the museum, like you don't know what it is yet? I hear all these stories from museums, like they find something that they relook at and discover it's like the missing link or something. You know, anything like that? You all trying to get to the bottom of?
Yeah, nothing yet so far, but we are in the process of doing a pretty substantial inventory of our collection, and so that could uncover some new and interesting things.
Yeah.
That's
we do.
good.
We do have both good and bad history in this area. I mean, we had one of the nation's first serial killers in this area, Juan Corona.
Right.
I'm just saying, the past of Marysville, when it was the gateway to the gold fields and all the partying miners and everything else went to Marysville.
Yeah, I had an opportunity to do an interview with a gentleman that was from World War II. He had turned 100. His wife was 99. They were really fun to interview. And so during the course of the interview, because he was talking about Beale, he was at Beale, but it was Camp Beale, and it was a German prisoner of war camp. That I didn't even know we had that.
Yeah.
That during the war that they had brought that. So there's history like that just kind of shows up. I didn't know that was here. You wouldn't think it. Now you got Beale Air Force Base, so you wouldn't be thinking about a time it was Camp Beale and what was it used for in World War II.
My wife's grandfather actually helped some of those prisoners of war because he was a German immigrant.
Yeah.
He never spoke it in the family, but he would go there and help these prisoners out. So for the U.S. government. So that's the kind of the history we got. You mentioned Camp Beale. Did you know the guy that came up with Camp Beale is also responsible for the camels in the Southwest?
Oh, wow, no.
Yeah, there was a movie called Homps back in the 60s or 70s, HAWMPS, and the guy, his name is Beale. He was the one that thought that the cavalry should get rid of horses and use camels.
Oh yeah, that's going to happen.
And that's why we have wild camels to this day in the desert. And it's all connected to Beale Air Force Base.
You guys used to have events. I went to one, and it was a fundraiser, and it was really unique. Since we mentioned World War II, you had these gals, it was like 2 or 3 of them, and they were singing like the harmonies, like the Andrews Sisters and that. And that was part of the event.
The Elegant Soiree, is that what it is?
I don't know, but it was a fundraiser, and I was just kind of, they were very good, they were singing, and you had a guy playing piano and stuff, but it was an event where you actually went to the museum, and it was a fundraiser. Do you guys have those, or are you planning on some of those?
Yeah, our big annual fundraiser is called Trees and Traditions.
That's it.
That
was it.
The holidays.
Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, I'm glad that you've been and that you're a supporter of the museum from the
absolutely.
fundraising side. So, but yeah, we are actually already in the stages of planning our 2022 Trees and Traditions, which we're looking at taking place on the first Saturday. Oh, usually it's the first Saturday of December, but this year we're looking at the first Friday of December for the event. And then we do educational programs throughout the year. We're also working on the final stages of planning for an event for the annual Day of Remembrance, which is Saturday, February 19th. And so the Day of Remembrance is where it's an observance for the Japanese Americans who were incarcerated in internment camps during World War II. And so we're working on a fun program for kids that day that will include some origami and kamishibai, which is a traditional Japanese form of storytelling that was very popular during, I believe, the Great Depression.
Well, you didn't do it in dynamic pentameter. That's a hoku, or a haiku, isn't that what it is? Haiku, that's what it is. That's something else. Some of the artistic history of this area should be represented there as well. Some of the stars that come from this area. We got a lady in this area that was on the Waltons. I watched an episode of the Waltons the other day, and she was on. She's an actress. Some of the entertainers. We got Tyler Rich now making a name. Kaylee Starr making a name. It'd be interesting to see something like that, because we were kind of the play area for Hollywood back in the heyday of Hollywood. That's why John Wayne was spotted at like El Zarape restaurants. Bing Crosby, all
and
these.
A lot of them came up here to hunt. They were hunters, and this was an area where they could relax in, and we even have that now. We have some of the San Francisco baseball players come up here and hunt, and so
Yeah, and you both clearly know your local history, which is
I was
great.
born
No,
here.
I only know it because John says it. I don't.
David Reed just chimed in from the Yuba Sutter Arts and Culture, and it would be it is a great mixture. I mean, you always have the similar mission statements, if you will, preserving and enhancing culture in this area, and I think that Sutter County Museum as well. Tell us where it's at, and if we could, because it is a venue on itself. There's a lot of weddings that take place there.
Right, correct. Yeah, earlier, we were talking a little bit before the interview about the Rose Garden behind the museum, and so we actually do manage. There's a rental facility that people can include the Rose Garden in that. It's called Edel Hall. Again, there's more info on our website, but so that's something that we rent out. That's a part of the Sutter County, and so a lot of people do hold weddings, quinceañeras, celebrations of life, memorial services, and all kinds of birthdays and fun events as well. So that's another great space that people can rent and be out in the beautiful Rose Garden.
Supports the museum. Fish kind of talked about it real quick, but where do you see yourself? Where do you see the museum in 1 year from now?
Yeah, that's a great question. So,
And don't say Iowa or Nebraska, right?
Nebraska.
We're not moving the museum, Molly.
yeah, I'd say, I think we'd really love to see more people back in the doors. It's been a quieter year in terms of visitation, so I think we'd love to see more members, more community supporters, and that will really help us because the community support is so huge for us in getting these projects off the ground. So we'd really love to continue what we've been doing for actually almost 50 years now. We recently had our 45th anniversary, so I think
You look so
2025 will be our 50th anniversary.
She looks so young too. No, you bring fresh blood and fresh perspective to the job as well, because today's. I didn't think I would be 58 years old once upon a time, be able to look back and see my name in that little book of registry at the Sutter County Museum that I put my name in back in 6th grade.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's like some of the fun history there. You'd be able to see people that you grew up with, or you see pictures of people in there in the displays and think, that was my uncle's friend back when they did whatever.
Yeah, and a lot of genealogy resources even subscribe to us, or we get requests for research for people who want to learn more about their family and find out what we might have in the museum's collection that could tell them a little more of those stories.
And
So you have if people want to connect with the museum, you mentioned there is a membership. You can become a museum member. Is that one way to connect?
Yeah. Exactly, yeah. So our lowest level cost-wise of membership starts at $35. So there are many options, but the basic membership package includes a subscription to our bulletin, which goes out 3 to 4 times per year. That has great articles. We're actually working on our most recent edition right now, and so that has great articles about our local history, and that gets mailed to you as a part of your membership, as well as it gets you a discount in our gift shop. So we have a great gift shop that features a lot of...
I was going to ask you about that.
Gift shop?
Yeah, because that's where you get
She's
the
like
middle,
holding out on us, John.
the Middle
all this
Mountain
great
Foundation
stuff, right?
has their calendars for sale there. I know
Wow.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. We have the Sutter Buttes calendars. We still have a few left, so if you want to get them, I'd run on down because we only have a few left. It's February, so if you want your 2022 calendars, now is probably the time.
That's great stuff. So besides the membership, there's other ways they can give it. All that they can find on the website. They can go and say, and that will also, like Trees and Traditions, when something is coming up, I'm assuming that the website would be absolute easy information to connect. If they want to volunteer, they can connect there and make an appointment, come and see, and say, yeah, I'd like to. Because there's always a lot of work in museums that people don't see because they go in, everything seems to be a static display, right? And they don't realize somebody had to take time to do all that. And now you just mentioned not only that, but you guys are archiving everything. You're going through your inventory and finding out what you have. So it's a great opportunity for people to say, yeah, I'd like to be part of helping the museum we just, as far as 93Q goes, we just want people to know we have a great museum, right? And that you can go see it, and it doesn't cost anything, and you can find out so much more about this community by taking time to do that. Take your family, go over there. I didn't know you had a farmer's market. Now I know that, right?
What are your hours again?
Yeah, so we're open Tuesday through Friday, 1 to 5 p.m., and then Saturdays and Sundays, 12 to 4 p.m.
Okay.
Yeah, and in addition to the farmers market, we also have a community garden, and then we also, I guess I'd say, in terms of ways to get involved, people can volunteer in the garden as well. So there are many ways that you can volunteer, and if you do want to learn more, in addition to visiting our website, we do on our website, on the homepage, have a button to subscribe to our e-newsletter so you can get monthly updates from the museum. We don't spam you. And then we do have a Facebook page and Instagram, so people can follow us there as well.
Well, sweet. Molly Bloom, welcome aboard.
Yeah, thank you.
Welcome to the community.
What's the mission statement for the museum?
So our mission is to inspire, share stories that inspire the celebration of our diverse cultural heritage, to strengthen community bonds, and to learn about how understanding the past can help prepare you for the future. So we do want to share those local stories and find new ways for people to connect with the history of this area.
Wonderful. Molly Bloom, new Director Curator of the Sutter County Museum, 1333 Butte House Road, which is right past the overpass, I guess, there. Butte House Road, right down from Target, and you'll be able to find it. And like you said, it's a good, fun time, and it doesn't cost you anything. Can't beat that with a stick.
No.
Yeah.
Well,
Thank you, Molly.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me on your show today.
This community interview is made possible by Shaw and Associates.
I'm Dave Shaw, President and CEO of Shaw & Associates. For over 65 years, Shaw & Associates has been your trusted local expert for wealth management, tax, accounting, and payroll. Thank you for voting us Yuba Sutter's best in multiple categories, including financial advisor and wealth management firm for the past 5 years. You can find more information at shawassociatesinc.com or 530-674-1150. Shaw & Associates is proud to support community radio.